Welcome to my program, Bashys Corner. We invite guests from wide section of the society. We discuss with them culture, politics, social integration, religion, whatever issue we think and we deem is necessary for the society. And often we take those issues which mainstream media doesn't dare or doesn't want to take. And when you will listen to our guest today, you will find out why I said that. Many years back, refugees from Middle East and other Islamic countries came, and before that there were many migrants who came from Pakistan, Morocco and Turkey. They worked, raised their families, have friends and lived a very, very normal life in the Danish society. But many Danes don't know that over the last 50 years, 6,000 Danish people, among them many young women and men, have converted to Islam. And one thing most of them have experienced is that initially their families were not happy. And today I have invited a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Anette Zahra. You converted many years back, and I understand that you are one of the actually early Danish converts, female converts. You are a very cosmopolitan person. You are involved in music, cooking and whatnot. So Anette, if I start welcoming you, and I'm very happy that you came and you gave your time, let's go back to the time. And how did it start with this conversion? When did it happen and why did it happen?
Come August, it's 17 years since I converted, and I think I have to be quite brief here because it's a really long story.
No.
But in the Quran it says Allah shows the way to whom He pleases, and Alhamdulillah, He showed the way to me.
Okay.
And I'm quite happy about that.
Mm. But was it a gradual process?
Oh yeah, very.
Just all of a sudden?
No, very graduate. Why? I have very little respect for those who do it like overnight, because they don't really know what they're doing. Mm. And it is a major life change. Mm. For me, it took from the first time I started studying Islam until I made the decision to convert, it took 6 years. And before I then actually converted, it took a further 3 years. Mm.
I have talked with many other people who have converted to Islam, and one thing which comes out from their talk is that, I don't know, you can confirm that, they said that they were missing something.
Oh yeah.
In their heart or in their life, and but I know you also as a very happy-go-lucky woman. Why did you then? Why did you convert and left everything behind?
Oh, I didn't leave things behind, not at all. I just incorporated it.
Okay.
I always to make it sort of in a quick way.
Go ahead.
I always explain it everybody knows what it's like to wear shoes that are a little bit too small. You can walk around, you can function, but there's something niggling at you all the time, and that's how it felt. There was always, like, my shoes, my sort of spiritual shoes were a bit too tight.
Okay, and you wanted to enlarge them.
Yeah, and so when I found Islam, I thought, these shoes fits me just perfectly.
Okay. Was there some environments around you which were Muslim people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It started out actually with my first husband, who came from Macedonia.
Okay.
And he was a sort of Muslim by birth, by tradition.
Yeah.
But he was not very forthcoming in telling about his culture, his family. So I went and raided the library and just got everything they had. And back in those days, it was like beginning of the 90s. Material available on Islam was very, very limited.
Okay.
I went to the university, or rather I contacted the university. I went to the Athenaeum, the university bookshop, and material available, very little, but still enough to to catch my interest.
Okay.
Then in '93, I started working at the World Culture Center, Verdenskulturcenteret.
Yes.
And suddenly I had a lot of Muslim colleagues from all different kinds of countries, of course with different traditions. And that was the first time I thought, aha, Islam is not one thing. It's like many other things, it is reflected by the people who practice it, by different cultures, different languages, etc.
Okay. And having a Christian background, I mean, before you converted to Islam, or
culture Christian
background. So, and you converted. What was did you find some difference between these two way of living?
Oh yeah. Of course, it was like from one day to the other, I say, okay, this is my last beer. Finish.
Okay. And was it easy to do that?
Oh yeah, that was no problem at all.
So no alcohol?
No. Since almost 17 years, the only alcohol that has crossed these lips is the rum cream in chocolate turtles.
Okay, and that was on purpose?
No, it's because I love them.
Okay. And then you chose to wear scarf, okay? Yeah. But many Muslim women don't wear scarf. So why to have this symbol?
Various reasons. When I first converted, I thought it was like obligatory. It was compulsory to wear a headscarf. Today I have a different opinion, but it has become sort of part of my identity.
Exactly.
And in many things I do, it's because I'm a convert. If I went around without a headscarf, people, they would sort of say, she's like only a half Muslim. I mean, I do a lot of like charity projects, support projects for the Palestinian refugees, for the Syrian refugees, and have for years. And many of my partners are from the Middle East, and they would definitely not take me very seriously if I didn't wear a scarf, because then I would not be considered a real Muslim. But also I've been so used to it, and actually I think they're very pretty.
Yeah, they absolutely. I have no problem. I just want to tell you some little story. I was in Brussels yesterday to a conference, and we discussed Islamophobia, and the girls who were talking about Islamophobia, they all had headscarf. So when I told them that 60% Muslim women don't have headscarf, so one of them said something very interesting, a young girl. She said, it's okay, I can go without headscarf. Yeah. That's not a problem. But the thing is that when I discuss an issue, then somebody has to see the visibility.
Yes.
And that...
But that's also part of my reason, because I find that there are so many preconceived notions about what Muslim women are like.
Exactly.
What kind of people are we? And so I think it's quite important that there are people like me with headscarves out there.
Yes.
To show that, we are a very varied group.
Exactly. Many converts, as I said before, face difficulties in the society, in the family, friends, at the workplace. How was with you? First, let's start with your family.
The first thing was my mother. She said, "Oh no, why are you covering your pretty hair?" No, it's because it's a little family thing that I have a brother and a sister, and they are both red-haired and blue-eyed, freckled, very Nordic. I'm the only one in the family with dark hair. And my mother, she always says that before I was born, she really, really wanted a girl with dark curly hair. And there I was, black curls all over the head. And she just thinks, why would you cover that? It's such a pretty thing. I said, well, it's really a minor thing to cover it. And then my brother, he was like, who made you do that? And I told him, come on, it's well-known family history. By the time I was 18 months old, I stood like this in front of my mum and my grandmother, and I said, Mother, that romper suit I will not wear. And if I'm able to, at 1.5 years old, to tell what I will and will not wear, then by the time I'm 40, nobody's going to tell me what to wear. Certainly not.
So what about the friend circle of you? Because I remember from Vedant Cultural Center, you had a lot of friends.
Oh yeah, I still have.
But was there any kind of animosity or ill will?
Very little. Yeah. Because people who know me well, they know that I do what I want, and nobody can tell me what to do. And if people don't like what I do, it's more their problem than mine.
But lately in the society, many Muslim girls have experienced really nasty things when they're walking in the street, somebody come and snatch their headscarf, spit on them, I mean, from your face, you look Danish, I mean, in that sense. What kind of experience you have when you walk in Örebro?
Mostly people don't bother me at all.
Okay.
I would remind you that years and years ago you said it yourself.
Okay.
Because we discussed this subject, and I said, well, in all my years as a Muslim and as a headscarf wearing Muslim woman, the times that anyone has bothered me with anything can be counted on one hand. And you said that's because you have an attitude that looked like you're going to punch people.
That's true, because maybe you know that if you have a charisma and you exude in confidence, then people don't bother you.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, it's years since somebody did something to me, and I threw him in a bush.
And you won't let anybody.
Nah.
Okay. Well, I also know that in your many years back, you started your career as a chef in Hotel Sheraton.
Correct.
I used to go there to dance upstairs. Do you still cook?
Oh yes. I work in these days. I work in a big daycare center in Nørrebro, which is very multi-cultural.
Sure.
And we have almost 200 children of from 10 months to 15 years. And they're from all different kinds of backgrounds, and I'm their head chef.
Okay. Then let me ask you, because now Randers Kommune in Jutland have decided that 30% of meat in every institution and in plejehjem should be, pork. Now, if Copenhagen Kommune decides to do the same thing, and you have a Muslim and you don't cook pork, won't you have a problem?
Definitely. But also in most institutions you have a parental council that decides day-to-day policy.
Yes.
And the council in our institution, they have decided that they prefer things to be the way they are. And everything we produce in my kitchen is halal. I mean, it doesn't mean that our children, they don't have frikadeller.
No.
Because they do. They're just made from veal. And they have sausages, which are just made from chicken.
Are there also Danish children in your
school? Yeah. It's a big mix.
But if they want pork, what would you do?
They don't. They never asked for it.
No, but if, let's say, if some children, they have their parents, who come from Danish People Party or some other, they say, hey, we want to have pork.
They wouldn't. It wouldn't happen, because the consensus among the parental council is that we try to make things so it's the least possible troubles for everybody. And it's no problem for, if there are some Danish families who likes to eat roast pork or whatever, they will do it at home.
Okay.
So it's not like their children will be deficient in pork.
Okay, let's talk also about your studying. You studied English literature, and one can hear on your accent, and drama at Queen's College at Cambridge. Why such a dramatic change?
That was actually just by chance.
Okay.
Because I was living in England, and by chance I found out that they had at Cambridge, they had an open university program.
Yes.
And they only required that you should check your language, to be sure that you were capable of following
the course.
The courses in English, and then a sort of a basic knowledge, so that that you had some knowledge of literature, and so you wouldn't be left behind. And I passed both classes, and so I could follow this.
It helped you with this studying drama and literature?
Well, I've always been a bit of a dramatist, sort of,
But because after that you went into accounting also.
Oh, that was a different reason. That's because a couple of years later I had my daughter, and then I thought, by that time I was actually still working as a chef. And in those days the only jobs available for chefs were in restaurants, which meant 6 days a week, from early morning till midnight. Okay. And I thought, as a single parent with a small child, that's just not, it doesn't work. You can't do that. And so I thought, okay, let's hang up your boots, cowboy, and find a more cushy number.
Okay.
And I thought, what can I do, where I can work in a more reasonable time frame? And I thought, I'll try business. And
so you studied in Copenhagen Business School?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Then I went to Copenhagen Business School, and I actually worked as a CPA.
Okay.
Revisor.
Oh yeah, accountant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So coming back to your activism, because that is what I'm very interested, you know, especially with women issue.
Yeah.
In 2008, you established female music group called Missing Voices.
2009 actually.
Sorry, let's say 2009. Please tell us something about that initiative.
Well, I started it for several reasons, because I've been working in the music business for a long, long time,
Okay.
in various capacities. And one of the things that always sort of stuck in my eyes was that the lack of women on the stage.
On the stage, okay.
And I thought, where are they? And I actually, I knew from my circle of friends, I knew girls and women who were talented, who wanted to perform, and who mostly spent their time sitting at home and playing in their bedroom. And I thought, what a waste of talent. And then what very often happens in my life, I thought, okay, if nobody else will do something, I will. And then I started Missing Voices.
Okay.
And I thought, I will create some opportunities for these girls. I will try to open some doors for them, if necessary, kick down the doors for them, and try and help them create a career.
Okay.
And I started with 3 girls here in Copenhagen. Today we have more than 50 affiliated in 8 countries.
But why to focus? I also noticed that you focus a lot on Muslim women musicians and also women from outside Europe.
That's because they need more help than anyone else.
Okay.
Because they don't have the network. They don't know people in the music business. They don't have connections. I mean, I also work with Danish women musicians. In Missing Voices, all the musicians are women. It is a female-only organization. But today, it's not only Muslim women. There are also Jewish women,
So
Hindu women,
yeah.
Christian women, all different kinds.
Okay, and they work together?
They work together, yes.
Okay. So now comes a very pertinent question about music in Islam, because I hear again and again, which I don't believe, but I'd like to hear your opinion. Some people, some very religious people say music is forbidden in Islam. And here you are, observer Muslim, you know, helping other Muslim women who play music. What is this contradiction?
I think, if you'll pardon the phrase, I think that those who say that Islam forbids music, that's a lot of hooey.
Okay.
And they don't know what they're talking about.
You mean?
Complete nonsense.
Okay.
There's nothing in the Quran that forbids it. And actually, one of the songs that we perform in Missing Voices is Taladul Badr,
okay.
which is the oldest known Islamic song in the world. It goes back to the time of the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
And it is said that when he came into the city, the women, they were up on the roofs of the houses and they were singing and clapping and playing drums.
Yes.
And if he had no objection to that, then I cannot take anything else seriously.
So you take him as a model?
Of course.
Okay. Now, has it been a success, this Missing Voices?
Very.
The one you, let me show it over our viewers, is a little brochure. You also have many CDs, but we'll talk about that.
We produced 4 CDs over the years. We tour everywhere. I have with the various groups within Missing Voices, we've been all over Europe. We've been to Turkey, to Morocco, and to India and Bangladesh.
Wow! With all these girls?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, our biggest success is Radiant Arcadia, which is a Muslim, Jewish, Christian all-women group.
That's beautiful.
And now that's because I thought women are underestimated as dialogue facilitators and as peacemongers.
Yes.
That's me, I'm a peacemonger.
You are a peacemonger.
And I thought if I can get girls up on the stage who have Israeli and Palestinian background and related, and sing together. They sing each other's songs and they sing together. That's a strong and powerful statement.
Very, totally.
And that's what we do.
And it helps.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
people, they love it. I mean, I've seen 15,000 Indians standing on their seats screaming.
Wow. So it means that this group was received very well outside.
Oh, very, very, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, there's some hard knocks every now and again, but I take those. I never let them come near my musicians.
Do you also cooperate with the musician in those countries where you visit sometimes?
Oh yes, absolutely. Okay. For example, when we've been touring India twice.
Okay.
And we were there for several weeks, and then we do workshops together with Indian musicians, which is wonderful.
Classical music?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a very good, very accomplished flutist in our group, and she had so much fun, and she learned so much from working with Indian flutists, and the same with percussionists and violinists, etc.
So you have, as you say, you have produced albums, CDs with missing voices. Yeah. Was it tough to produce in this little elite environment?
Mostly it's difficult to get the money because producing these things cost money, a lot of money.
Yes.
And getting this money, finding that money is really hard. But I'm good at it.
What about the cultural ministry? Don't they talk about women emancipation?
They don't give to music production as such.
Okay.
In many circles, we are not really considered politically correct.
Oh God.
Some people, they would prefer that, especially us as Muslim women, that we sort of stayed in our corners and just shut up.
In one of your intro on your website also, I said you said when you listen with your heart.
Yes.
And not just with your ears, but also with your feelings. Can you explain that? It's a beautiful statement.
I can give an example.
Okay.
A couple of years back, we were doing a concert in the north of Jutland, in a fairly small town. And there were a couple of young Danish girls sitting in the front, and one of my singers, she was singing this really beautiful Bosnian song in Bosnian.
Okay.
And it's a really old song about loss, and all the men are gone and dead in the wars, and the women are left behind. And these girls, they were sitting and listening, and tears were rolling down their faces. And they had, I'm sure of it, they had no idea what the words were, but they got the feeling.
So they could feel this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're also involved in NGO work. I know
Yes.
that you do a lot of active. How about coming to politics? I mean, you could need somebody with your personality. No, you don't like politics.
I'm too much up in your face.
Okay.
Somebody told me a while back that in order to be a good, or rather a successful politician, you have to be devious, you have to be without integrity, principles, honor, or anything else like that. And then I'm out.
I hope that my viewers, who's a politician.
I'm willing to discuss this with anyone who wants to.
One of the names you use in your work is ethnic cat.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's actually ethnic catering and entertainment.
Oh, I thought it was ethnic cat, like.
No.
No.
It's catering and entertainment.
Okay. You have a lot of women now with ethnic background from different countries. Do their families also support them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because we've had a few issues. Like a couple of years back, I had to take a very young girl on a tour in England.
Okay.
But her parents, they said normally they would never allow it. They would not allow her. She was barely 19 at the time. Normally they would not allow her to travel anywhere outside Denmark or even outside Copenhagen without at least one of her parents with her. But because they know me and they trust me, they allowed it.
So you are like a chaperone for her?
Yes.
Okay. Can you live a comfortable life just with working with music?
Oh no. No. It's very difficult to make a living from music.
Especially ethnic music?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
People, they may support our ideas and they may support the principles, but not to the extent that it sort of pays out. That's really hard.
Okay.
In order to be able to live off being a musician in this country, then you have to be in in the royal orchestra in the opera house, or you have to be a pop musician.
But Outlandish, they live very comfortable.
Yeah, but they also do a bit of pop.
Okay, you don't want to do any pop.
I love those guys. They're really sweet.
Yes.
And they do a lot of great music. But I think maybe ours is slightly less pop.
Is it more like Sufi music? Or?
Yeah, we have a strong Sufi influence in a lot of what we do. And also the media, mainstream media, they don't want to know.
So that is why there's not so much visibility of your group.
It's really difficult. I mean, I'm also the manager for the Copenhagen World Music Festival.
Oh yeah.
And every year we try to get like the mainstream media to do a little clip from one of the concerts, or just to bring something about it, because we think this is a major thing in Copenhagen cultural life. And we try to offer some of our bands to come to the studio to play, and all the time it's like no, they're too foreign, too strange, too not mainstream enough.
But among young people, there is a lot of appetite.
Yeah. It's actually it's a sort of trying to bring two things together, because I mean there's a lot of young people, young upcoming musicians who are interested in world music, and incorporate aspects of world music into what they do. And there's also, of course, there's a lot of young people who have Middle Eastern, Pakistani, Chinese, all different kinds of backgrounds. And they're also interested because it makes a big difference. You know, if you feel that your culture is worthless, that you are being rejected because of who you are, if you see somebody up on a stage that you can identify with, who are seen and not just recognized, but applauded, it helps your confidence too.
So if somebody who's watching this program and singer, a Muslim background, if they want to join your group, how would they do that?
Call me.
Simply that?
Yeah, call me. Send me an email.
Okay.
And then I'll have a chat with them, see if... because, you know, being a musician is hard work.
Of course, yeah.
And I always tell people, you have to have talent, and you have to have the will to really work hard. So because it is blood, sweat and tears. So that is your message to ethnic minority women? Yeah. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Just give me a call and we'll work something out. And it's encouragement? Oh, absolutely. Last question. Do you think that in the coming 10, 15, 20 years, Denmark will be a really intercultural society? I think we don't have a choice. With this wonderful word, Anette, thank you very much for coming. Pleasure. And I'm sure that our viewers have listened to Anette and her wonderful message that if you put your mind, you can do anything, even if you are an observing Muslim woman. Until next week, take good care of yourself.